Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I tried. Happy Thursday. It is Thursday, January 5th. Hope everybody is doing well out there in the world. It has been 1,000, many rainy days, but it's been 1,000 days, many of them rainy, since we started our petition calling for the cancellation of all federally owned student loans by executive order, as well as calling for the return of bankruptcy protections to student loans. It's been way more than 1,000 days since we started calling for that second thing, but I hope that you guys are all somewhat impressed that the whole loan cancellation thing started on this group, like before anybody was talking about it. How we were schlepping around Iowa on many rainy days, from farmhouse to ranch, begging these presidential candidates to return bankruptcy to the loans. And then in March 2020, nearly 1,000 days ago, over 1,000 days ago, we broke the ice on the loan cancellation thing. And lo and behold, here we are 1,000 days later. And we have, at least on paper, a sitting president who has announced a loan cancellation by executive order. We also have a Department of Education who claim that they're going to stop opposing student loan borrowers in bankruptcy court. So those are two very major, at least on paper, accomplishments that you all should be very proud of if you were on this group over these past 1,000 days, helping us fight. None of this would have happened but for your efforts. And so I thank you. I applaud you. And to everybody else out there who wasn't doing the work over the past 1,000 days and longer, quite frankly, you need to turn over a new leaf, because we're back in the wilderness now, ladies and gentlemen. We are back in the wilderness. This last congressional session was the best chance we were going to have in many years, even maybe decades, to get justice for these student loans. Now we're headed into a mixed Congress, and the whole thing is just looking stupider and stupider as time goes on. I mean, the Republicans can't even seem to elect a speaker. And so, if you're new to the group, welcome. We are studentloanjustice.org. We are the oldest, largest, and in many ways the only true grassroots group fighting only and absolutely for student loan justice. So yeah, guys, we're a fiercely nonpartisan group. You need to know if you're new. If you're a Republican or a Democrat, or you hate both parties like we do, you came to the right place. And whatever your political persuasions may be, you are very welcome here on this group. So we are fiercely politically nonpartisan. We are very politically and partisan aware, though. And I'm here to tell you that this next congressional session is going to be very difficult for us, guys. I mean, we were so close to getting our bills passed last session, and that the Democrats pulled the rug out from under us at the last minute is just, it stings. It stings. But the good news is we're not going away, guys. And with every passing day, this federal student loan program becomes more and more failed. It was failed before the pandemic, quite frankly, but the pandemic was the nail in the coffin of this big government, red state wrecking lending monstrosity. Now, we haven't formulated any super hard strategic plans yet this session. We're still waiting for the dust to settle. But I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that we are going to have to be pushing the Republicans very hard. And that sounds like a very uphill task. For those of you who know the history of this issue, it's essentially been a good cop, bad cop thing, where the Democrats are the good cop, the Republicans are the bad cop. But, guys, between the two of them, they sort of call it the deep state or the uniparty or whatever you want to call it. The bad guys found a way to shove us into the partisan cracks. I can talk about that a little more if you want me to. But I'm gonna keep it rather short tonight. I'm just filling in for our fearless co-leader Ed. If you have any questions or comments, throw them out on Facebook or Twitter, and if I can see them, I will very happily read them aloud and respond to them. So a couple of announcements. First thing, if you would please donate at this time. I have to ask, guys. I hate asking for money. I have to ask. Please donate. We can do what we do on extremely little money, but we can't do it on nothing. So if you appreciate all that we've done, all that we intend to do, and you're with us, please show some love and just please donate so I can shut up about it. And let me dial in that link for you. There it is right there. Just go to the website, studentloanjustice.org. So I can shut up about it. If you would just please do that. And by the way, huge thanks to everybody who supported us financially and otherwise last congressional session. You know, your actions are way, 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 way more important than any money you could possibly donate. But we appreciate everything. And the fact that we've been able to even stay in operation during some extraordinarily lean times, it's a huge testament to you guys out there. But yeah, your actions are way more important than donations. So I'm looking for your comments now, and let me just dial them in. One quick little thing, you know, the Republicans are trying to elect a speaker right now, and there's a guy, Matt Gaetz, who seems to be leading the opposition in Congress to the to Speaker McCarthy. McCarthy's bid to become Speaker of the House. I just have to say, Matt Gaetz is actually a really good guy on the student loan issue, certainly on the bankruptcy issue for student loans. He's one of the few Republicans in the House who has publicly called for the return of bankruptcy protection to student loans. And again, if you're new to the group, the core of this problem is bankruptcy. It just is. All the cancellation nonsense that we've seen and that we're seeing from Joe Biden, it's going to come to almost nothing for almost everyone, and maybe absolutely nothing for everyone, as long as the threat of bankruptcy remains gone. The Founding Fathers called for bankruptcy in the Constitution, believe it or not. Read it. You'll see in Article 1, Section 8, near the front of the document, uniform bankruptcy laws are called for, and that's way ahead of everything mentioned in the Bill of Rights. So Founding Fathers knew that bankruptcy rights were pretty important, and they were right. They were onto something. So whether you would ever or never file for bankruptcy, we have got to get the leverage of bankruptcy returned if we are ever going to see anything good happen with our student loans. And thankfully, the Constitution's on our side. The Founding Fathers are on our side. The law is on our side. Well, the Constitution is on our side. The law currently is not on our side because of this one line of code, 11 U.S. Code 523A8, which makes student loans different from all other loans in this country. And it's the camel's nose under the tent, guys. If they can weaponize other loans like they've weaponized student loans against the citizens, if we let them, they will do it. There are some dark forces that we're up against here, ladies and gentlemen. But Matt Gaetz is a pretty good guy. Among all Republicans, he's probably, I'd say, probably the best Republican ally that we have. So it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to somehow see Matt Gaetz become Speaker of the House. I'm just saying. In the chaos that's happening, who knows what's going to happen. But that would be pretty cool. And if it happens, you heard it here first. So I'm looking at your comments right now. I see Rob Miller's with us tonight. Hey, Rob. And yeah, I know a lot of people out there, you know, a lot of people are strong Democrats or strong Republicans, one way or the other. I know a lot of Democrats really hate Matt Gaetz. And we don't look at anything that he does on anything other than student loans. On the student loan issue, the guy is spot on. So in as much as we have to work with the Republicans this session, we could do far worse than to have Matt Gaetz as a Speaker of the House. Not that anybody's even talking about that, but that would be something. So as a Speaker of the House. So I'm looking at your comments now. As I said, I'm going to keep it pretty short tonight, guys, because I'm just filling in for Ed tonight, our fearless co-leaders, taking a couple of well-deserved weeks off here in the new year. Hey, Joanna Kearns is with us from Florida tonight. Good evening. I have mentioned this group to more professionals who are going to try and get more group members to help us. Oh, that's great. Yeah, we need all the help that we can get, ladies and gentlemen. We are nothing more than a collection of people. We're not lawyers. We don't have a trillion, billion, or million, or even $10,000 budget. Our monthly budget is like $2,000 or something. But no. We don't have a bunch of money to throw around. What we have are people, you and me, and a lot of good people. We have. I'm sure there's quite a few lawyers in our group. Whether that's good or bad, it is true. We have dentists and doctors, and we have many people from all walks of life are on our group, just so you know. This is not a liberal problem, not a conservative problem. This is an American problem. And so, yeah, we need your help, guys. And I think last year demonstrates that. We got a lot done last year. I think that you guys should be pretty happy. I mean, in terms of like ROI, like return on investment, I think we did pretty well compared to the tens of millions of dollars that are spent against us every year by our opposition. The one thing that you can do to if you forget everything else that I said tonight, as far as things that you can do to help, most days we do daily actions. So if you go to our website, studentloanjustice.org, you'll see a thing for daily actions. And we haven't been updating it so far this year, but starting like tomorrow-ish, you can always see what the most recent daily action was and just do that, and it will help. We put quite a bit of thought into these daily actions. Like today, for example, we are hitting a couple of Republicans, including Matt Gaetz, and also a senator from Oklahoma, James Lankford, in whose state a family of 8 tragically perished. And a directly contributing factor to that tragedy was student loan debt. I kid you not. So the daily actions that we do are very timely and pretty well conceived. So you can always help that way. Hey, Michael Cheney's with us. How you doing, Michael? In Ohio, I believe. Michael says, we need to rub Elizabeth Warren's campaign in the ground in 24 when she runs on bankruptcy protections for her campaign. Keep it public how she blocked our bill with her own bullshit bill. Pardon my French. Good point, Michael. We trusted the Democrats. I mean, we don't trust any parties, but the Democrats promised to return bankruptcy protections to student loans and have been promising for years and decades. Elizabeth Warren should have been our strongest ally last session in getting a bankruptcy bill through the Congress while they had the opportunity to do it. The Democrats had the House and the Senate and the presidency, and they had 2 great bills with bipartisan support that would have passed with flying colors through the Senate. And Elizabeth Warren was nowhere to be found on these bills. In fact, she went out of her way to scuttle this legislation, in my opinion, in my very well-studied opinion. And why did she do it? I suspect she didn't want anyone else to get credit. She wants to run for president, so she went out of her way to not support this bill. And in fact, when she was asked by a reporter point blank if she supported the bill, she refused to answer. So shame on Elizabeth Warren. We're not going to let her live that down. I would also say, and I hate to say this, but shame on the historically Black colleges and universities. The HBCUs were the one group that we are aware of, and this comes directly from our contacts in the Senate and lobbyists around the Senate. They were the group that opposed our legislation. There was a clawback mechanism. It was toothless. At least on paper, it would have required the colleges to reimburse the federal government up to 50% of the amount originally borrowed in the case of a bankruptcy discharge. But I'm here to tell you guys, we know, and everybody in Washington knows, that the Department of Education never enforces penalties on the colleges. Almost never. Once in a blue moon, they might actually try to enforce a sanction, but almost never does that happen. And it would not happen to the HBCUs. I think there was a lot more going on there. I think other colleges, like the for-profits, and maybe probably some of the lending interests in and around the Department of Education probably put the HBCUs up to take the heat for opposing this bill. I think there was colleges and other deep, dark swamp creatures behind them. But shame on the HBCUs for doing that. That's just the worst thing in the world. And, if you're African American, I would hope that you would take them to task. Everybody needs to take them to task, but in particular, if you're a constituent if you went to an HBCU, you should be livid. How could they sell you out like that? That's just disgusting. So, hey, Rob Miller says, Durbin was on the floor today busting out for-profit colleges. I didn't get to watch. I didn't watch it either, Rob. Maybe some other people did. Dick Durbin is mud to us. Dick Durbin was the sponsor of our bill last session. He gave us every reason to believe that he was going to push this bill. And by the way, we're on Peacock right now. Very interesting documentary that you can see. It's called Lone Wolves. Should be scrolling by in one direction or another below me. It's on MSNBC, NBC Peacock right now. And you can watch that film and see for yourself what Dick Durbin had pledged to do. And he did not do it. He and the Democrats he represents collectively chose not to pass our legislation. Who knows how many years, or maybe even decades, they added to this sentence for us. Shame on the Democrats. Big shame. Big shame. Shame on Elizabeth Warren. Shame on Dick Durbin. Shame on all the Democrats. Shame on Chuck Schumer. This was the Democrats' one chance, and they blew it. They blew it big time. Good point, Michael. Yeah, I just pushed the documentary. Check out that documentary, as I said. Hey, Christina Witten says, definitely connecting with as many of us as I can to start collaborating together and utilize free resources and more to start working organized. And on all fronts this year, I'm willing to teach people how to set up Twitter accounts, etc. Well, good, Christina. That'll help. Spread the word about this group, guys. The other groups out there claiming to be fighting for us borrowers. I'm sorry, but they're full of shit, guys. They just are. They were nowhere to be found on bankruptcy. And in fact, like one of the activists I saw out there was fighting against bankruptcy. Her name is Melissa Byrne or McBurn or something. And she was fighting against bankruptcy. And we came to find out later that she was actually on the payroll of the Democratic National Committee, the DNC. So we need normal people to be in this group helping us fight. We've got very serious opposition, and some of it very sneaky and from places where you wouldn't think. So we need to overwhelm all that nonsense, guys. We've got over 1 million people in our group now, believe it or not. We've got over 1 million people on our petition. We've got a couple 100,000 people on our Facebook group and across our other platforms, email, etc. We've got I think 10 or 15 million views on our Giphy page. If you go to Giphy.com/student loan justice, I believe you can see for yourself. Very nice art out there. But yeah, guys, we're going to need everybody's help this time. This year is going to be harder than last year, unfortunately. We were so close, guys. Last congressional session was the easy way to solve this problem. Now it's going to be tough. But guys, we're only getting stronger. The problem is our argument is only getting stronger. The facts on the ground only support us even more strongly. People are coming around left and right, including Republicans, people like Matt Gaetz, even the Federalist, if you know what that is. They've published 3 articles in the past 3 months calling for the return of bankruptcy protections of student loans. So, the rhetoric is definitely starting to really work for us. I think we turned a big corner as far as public perception is concerned. Despite all the avalanche, 95% of the media that was written or published or aired over the last 2 years has been seeded by our opposition, trying to paint student loan borrowers as these lazy, wealthy, well-to-do, entitled, did I say blue-haired, liberal snowflakes or whatever. It's complete nonsense. It's complete fiction. So the lies seeded against us by our opposition were like an avalanche. But even despite that, people are starting to see through the bullshit. People, I'm just going to say, like, redneck conservatives are like, you need to pay your loan. No, I pay mine, you pay yours. Those people are starting to talk to their friends and family and neighbors and friends, and they're starting to find out what we have been screaming from the rooftops for years now. 1 in 5 of all adults in this country, not only do they have student loans, they were never going to be able to repay their loans. Even before the pandemic, they were underwater. That's 85% of all student loan borrowers. So one in 4 adults have student loans. 1 in 5 adults in this country are freaking out about them. So the Republicans have absolutely every reason to quit wagging their fingers at us. And but for the bad politics in this country, and but for the swamp creatures who go out of their way to try and hypnotize the citizens through this just sorcery nonsense, or whatever parlor psychological tricks they're playing on the public. Yeah, it's wearing through, and the truth is slowly, too slowly in my opinion, but slowly rising to the top. So we got that going for us, but it is a battle, guys. And as last congressional session shows, we will be baffled, bamboozled, and buried by the bullshit if we individually, meaning you sitting there, don't fight this fight with us. And I know most people who are new to the group, they don't know anything about student loans, and why would they? If you're new to the group, I would say in the strongest of terms, and rewind this video and look at the beginning, but I will dial it in again for you. If you want to be a very fine, fit, fierce, fearless, and proud and noble warrior for this cause, and it's a very just cause, and the nation needs you to, it's your patriotic duty, in my humble opinion, go to our Medium channel. Go to our Medium platform right there and read the most recent, 5, 6, 7 articles that we've written. If you read those, and they're easy to read, I think they're pretty pleasurable, but just read them, understand them, and you will have all the knowledge you need to put down all of the haters and to inject truth, actual provable truth that is sourced by and large directly back to publicly available data from the Department of Education. You will be able to fight the bad guys with the truth and prevail and win. And it feels good, by the way, to fight this battle and not only defeat the bad guys in public conversation or private, but help the movement and help yourself and have a little pride in this fight. I think most people on this group, Joanna and James, Rob, and Mike and everybody else, I think they'll tell you it feels really good to fight this fight. Hey, Rob Miller says, how is Scared to Debt coming along? Oh, that's right. Good question. So there's this documentary that's airing right now. Very strong film. There's another documentary that we've been working on for 5 years now. It's called Scared to Debt. And unfortunately, Rob, I don't have any news for you on that. It's kind of been sitting on the shelf with filmmaker Mike Camoin for like the past year or so. So I don't know. My humble opinion, I would like to see that thing just thrown up on Amazon Prime at this point so that we can market it, so people can see it, so we can educate the masses about it. But unfortunately, that's not up to me. I'm not the filmmaker. And so if I have any other news, I'll certainly share it. Hey, Christina Winton says, oh, you already said that. I already read that. Joanna says, I have, you better believe it. We deserve it. Whatever it takes, Alan College, for us to effing win. I am sick of the disrespect myself. I know, right? Like, we've had our noses shoved in shit for so many years. Like, shame on you. You should have, well, you made the wrong choice and this and that. No. This is not a bad borrower problem, ladies and gentlemen. This is a bad lending system. The people are as responsible or as irresponsible as they've ever been. Frankly, I think the citizens are probably a good bit more responsible these days than they were, say, 30 or 40 years ago. This isn't about bad people. This is about a bad lending system. And if the conservatives out there who tend to oppose us and wag their fingers at us, if they thought about it even slightly deeply, they would realize that in wagging their fingers at us, they are actually fighting for the worst big government, college enriching, red state wrecking loan scam on the face of the earth. And it hurts them. It hurts their family. People who get student loans, they're not liberals. They're not. I mean, it's about a 50-50 split of all the student loan borrowers in the country. The worst states hit are the entire South, very red states. But half of all student loan borrowers are either Republican or independent. They are too quiet, in my humble opinion. And it's actually not a humble opinion. Conservatives with student loans need to get off their asses and start fighting way more than they have. You know, the problem, the thing that has defeated us on this issue in the past, and it's our biggest challenge, is that conservatives oppose us for no good reason. And so conservatives out there who can feel the pointy end of this unconstitutional student loan scam in their eyeball, they need to stand up and fight for themselves way louder than what we've seen in the past. Because what we've seen is, you know, these diehard liberals like Elizabeth Warren and Chuck Schumer, they go, yeah, loan cancellation. And then all these blue-haired snowflake liberal people, you know, and, protesters, whatever, Occupy Wall Street, liberal, snowflake, blah, 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 all that stuff. Those people go out and protest. The news covers them, and that pushes all the conservatives to the opposite side of whatever they're saying. And that is not helpful for us, guys. It's not needed, it's not appropriate, and it's not helpful. So we don't deserve to be disrespected. In fact, I think you will, as you fight this battle, and I think Joanna and many others would agree, you will gain a lot of inner respect, if that makes any sense, as you fight this battle. And as you enlighten the very unenlightened, uninformed, misinformed, disinformed, finger-wagging, people who oppose us. It feels good to win arguments about these people. And honestly, in all the honest engagements I've had with conservatives, 100% of the time, at the end of the conversation, they come around to agreeing with me. Maybe not so much on the loan cancellation thing all the time, but often, but certainly on the bankruptcy thing. And often I've parted those conversations shaking hands and them wishing me luck and even saying that they'll pray for me from time to time. So we got this, guys. It's only a matter of rising above the din, getting above all the noise, all the artificial nonsense that our very well-resourced, very well-funded opposition expends against us. Hey, Michael says, tired, sore, work is killing me, running a bad trailer, no suspension. Oh, okay. Mike's a truck driver, by the way. So all of you guys thinking that we're a bunch of blue-haired liberals, no. Mike is a truck driver in freaking Ohio. I don't know his politics, but I kind of don't think he has blue hair. And I think he's a little tougher than most. Hey, Jackie Abrams says, can I get a list of those HBCUs specifically so I can chew on them on Twitter? Good question, Jackie. I don't have a specific list of like which HBCUs specifically opposed our legislation. What I've been doing is I've just been hitting up a group calling themselves the White House HBCUs on Twitter. That's pretty much the only HBCU group that I've been hitting on Twitter. And, you know, I've been asking them for months. I was like, please tell me it's not true that you're opposing this legislation. Please say it isn't so. And they've not ever, 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 ever responded. So I think that's a pretty good sign that, yeah, it's the White House HBCUs are probably in the thick of the opposition to our bill. And I can't give you the Twitter name exactly, but I think it's like WH underscore HBCUs or something. If you just type HBCUs in a Twitter address like at HBCUs, they're usually the first one to pop up. Hey, Terry Dodd, what's up, man? Terry says, hey, everyone, we might have came up on the short end of the stick this past congressional session, I'm adding, but that's not going to stop us. It'll just make us hit the ground harder than ever. I agree, Terry. You know, if it doesn't kill us, and I'm still here, man. Terry's still here. Michael's still here. Jackie's still here. Joanna's still here. Christina's still here. Rob, you know, we ain't going nowhere, guys. We got this. But we got to fight, dudes. We got to fight. This last session taught us that, you know, we got to fight, guys. You know, 99% of democracy is just showing up, as they say. So Laura Gail Sweeney says, thanks for educating and informing the public. They didn't understand what was going on, and debtors felt both alone and abandoned. Yes. Another aspect of why it's been so hard for us over many years to get this fucking problem solved and get these loans behind us is that people, they think it's their fault. They let their own egos and wills and goodwills be used against them by the lending people. So they suffer in silence. They think they're the only ones going through it. And nothing could be further from the truth. Like I said, you know, if you go to a bar where there's like 20 people, okay? If you go to a bar where there's 20 people, I guarantee you, the odds are, I can't guarantee this, but the odds are that 5 of those people have student loans, not counting yourself. 5 of those people have student loans, and 4 of those people were never going to be able to pay their loans even before the pandemic. So if you go to a bar with 20 people, 4 of those people are losing sleep at night over their student loans. Now, would you ever hear about it over drinks at the bar? Probably not, unless you asked. But the fact remains, guys, we are not a rare, you know, we aren't the exception. We are the rule. We are 85% of all federal student loan borrowers. All student loan borrowers generally, I think. Mike says, kick ass, fight, fight, fight. Rob Miller says, Matt Gaetz for president. I don't know if I go that far. Well, Matt Gaetz is certainly the number one Republican who I think there's a very good opportunity for us with Matt Gaetz. He follows us on Twitter, by the way, so you know. So I think there's maybe a tiny bit of mutual admiration there. He knows where the votes are. Matt Gaetz is smart. And whether you love him or hate him, Matt Gaetz is a very, I would say, almost blindingly intelligent guy. I mean, I've seen him talk many times, and he can really handle himself. He is, I don't know if you'd say he's an intellectual heavyweight, but he certainly can think on his feet, and he's not a dumb guy. And he should know, maybe because he's younger, he knows the numbers that I just said. I mean, there's 40 million people that are going to go to bed tonight losing sleep over their student loans. And these people vote. And these people are not dyed-in-the-wool Democrats, by and large. These people are, by and large, Republican or independent. The slight majority are either Republican or independent. So Michael says, it is going gray. I don't know what that means. Hey, Doug Grossman. How you doing, Doug? Happy New Year. Doug says, glad to see you're still here and fighting. I'm ready to go for the next round in this fight. The next, and let's say the final round, shall we? I'm ready to be done. Are you not? I don't want to spend another 1,000 rainy days getting rained on and worse. I want these loans gone. I want them gone. That's why I'm here. And This is a working, fighting group, guys, and everybody whose name I mentioned, they've been doing the work. They've been fighting, and I think they'll tell you it feels good. You need to join us. You need to spread the word about this group. Tell everybody you know. This group is where it's at. That loan cancellation thing that Biden did, however lame, wouldn't have happened but for this group. The bankruptcy legislation that we damn near got passed wouldn't have even happened but for this group. The thing the Department of Education did about stopping opposing student loan borrowers in bankruptcy court, it turned out to be a cruel joke. But that whole thing started with us, with this group. And the Undersecretary of Education also follows us on Twitter, by the way. The guy who's in charge of the lending program. So this is it, guys. This is where everyone with student loans needs to be. I wish they would find us, because we'll only make our job easier. So spread the word, if you would, please. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up, guys. But I hope everybody's at least slightly encouraged and enthused by what I've said here tonight. We got this, but we've got to fight. Please make a donation, even a small one. It all adds up, guys. We can't do that. We can do this on very little, but we can't do it on nothing. So, okay, guys, I'll be here Friday. I will be back tomorrow. Hang in there, guys. Keep fighting. Look up and down on the group, do the daily action, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace. God bless everyone.